to work out as much this week because I'm going to be in Londonistan, as you guys know. I have talked about this before, but I know every time I bring up something that is going on in my life, everyone goes, what? You're going to be in Londonistan? When did you say that? When did you say you were going to be in Londonistan? I don't understand. Why are you going to London? What the hell's going on? Will there be regular streams? The answer is yes, there will be regular streams. I'm going to be streaming the two talks that I'm giving, both in Cambridge and also Oxford Uni. I'm going to the fucking Cambridge Union. I'm going to the fucking Oxford Union too. Both unis, lads. We're going there. We're talking about Israel, Palestine. It's going to be a fucking mix-up, right? We're going to do Tesco meal deals. We're going to get some fucking kebabs. That's right, lads. That's fucking right. Yeah. Hogwarts style. Anyway. But yeah, I'm doing those two things. I haven't been like super public about it because you know, I don't want no motherfuckers to know about this shit. I don't want nobody to know what the fuck I'm up to. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to know. So regardless, we'll see. Make sure you give the speech on this voice. It's the only way they will understand it. Yeah. English people don't understand if you don't have like an accent. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I got those two big speeches coming out. And apparently Norm was supposed to be debating Benny Morris at Oxford Union, but apparently Benny Morris pulled out because Ehud Olmert, he pulled out of the debate. March is coming with me. to Londonistan. So I'm flying out. And tomorrow, at the regular time that I would normally be live at, I will be live from Londonistan. Now, the thing is, when I go live, I'm planning on, doing my regular Tuesday stream. I also still haven't written a speech, which is crazy. Okay? It's actually fucking crazy that I have not written a speech at all. And the situation is supposed to be about I'm supposed to be talking about Israel Palestine, and I still have not written a fucking speech. Don't say just let ChatGPT do it. So many motherfuckers have told me that as a joke. Stop it. That gives me so much anxiety. I mean, it's not going to be like a long speech. I think it's supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes. I told him like the format is 5 to 10 minutes of speech, then a moderated Q&A, and then afterwards just like a regular old Q&A. A regular old Q&A with some people. I know that like I saw the post in my subreddit about fucking Bonercelli's fans being like, oh, I can't wait to infiltrate this speech. What are some good questions I can ask them? Like they're like really stoked on asking me some fucking troll ass questions. I don't know why, but have fun with that, I guess. Like they literally treat me like I'm fucking Charlie Kirk, you know what I mean? Or Ben Shapiro. Like that is how like how big of an enemy I am to these guys, that they're like, ooh, Charlie Kirk's coming to my school. What can I do? It's like, bro, what are you, the Young Americans for Freedom Foundation? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, be normal. So, no, literally, look at the second comment. Oh, yeah, they posted this. I didn't even know that they posted this. Where is the discernment of speaker selection gone? Free Oxford from anti-Western operatives. And the anti-Israel committee continues. Is the Gestapo at the helm of the union this term? Isn't this kind of the equivalent of inviting Nick Fuentes? Such a disgraceful move. This standard has been lowered to the degree that streamers and internet boys who peddle in the shallow waters are speaking at Oxford. Taints the prestige and reputation of the institution. I like that they put my qualifications on here. On Thursday the 5th, December at 5 p.m., we'll be joined by the streamer and political commentator Hasanpiker. By the way, Ben Shapiro has spoken at Oxford Union. So I don't think it's that fucking crazy to have someone like myself speak at Oxford Union. Not sure why they think that is like so far-fetched. Ben Shapiro, Ben Shapiro himself is not that far off from myself. And also on top of that is not exactly the most intelligent guy. hasanpiker, also known as Hasanabi, is an American YouTuber and Twitch streamer. His content is based around the discussion of news, politics, social issues, and topical events, and he often uses his platform to debate controversial topics or issues. In 2023, hasanpiker organized a fundraiser following the Turkey-Syria earthquake, which raised $1.2 million for various charities involved in searching for survivors and supporting those on the ground. Oxford Union is not a part of the uni. I don't fully understand what Oxford Union is. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a moderated Q&A? Yeah, no, it's going to be like a moderated Q&A and then a regular Q&A. So, Jezza, unfortunately, I will not be linking up with Jezza. I actually made direct contact with him, like a bunch of people after I tweeted that. He has another thing that he's doing this week, so he won't be he won't be available. But yeah, Oxford Union is like and Cambridge Union as well, I guess, is like very it's a prestigious debating institution, I guess. I'm not a very big debate guy, as you guys know. I said yes to this because, you know, they asked like a long time ago, and also because they wanted to talk about Israel-Palestine. Bassem Youssef has been on it. We'll talk more about this stuff as well. Yeah, I saw this one. Bassem Youssef had been on it as well. Talks about Piers Morgan and why Arab Americans seem to prefer Donald Trump. So it's run by the students, not the uni. It's run by the students, not the fucking uni. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've had like Anthony Scaramucci, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like they're, it's not as serious as people would place it, as people would claim it is. But the mooch. Did you ship Kaya off to the London on the PJ? Yeah, Kaya is already in London. Kaya, I have someone sitting for Kaya. And then Cambridge Union came out as well 5 days ago. Cambridge Union is excited to announce that we will be joined by hasanpiker on Wednesday, the 4th of December. Hasan is one of the leading voices that bridges a young digital generation, progressive politics, and culture. After getting his start on the Young Turks, he began streaming on Twitch in 2018, where he became an early pioneer of live stream social commentary. The show Hasan has built on Twitch now boasts over 110 million views and was the most watched channel across the platform in 2022. We'll also be hosting a balloted meet and greet with Hasan after the main event ends. Keep an eye out on our social media for more details on how to sign up for it. No bags allowed. Attendees must be present and their membership card upon entry. Number one Champagne Socialist. Wow, this guy's the least representative of any political reasoning. Bizarre invite. The coping and seething is delicious. Yeah, it's very odd that people just lose their fucking minds over it. And yeah, Hasan coming to my university. What question do I ask? Don't ask him about Destiny. He'll just use it as an opportunity to dismiss you. Better to find some disgusting quote of his, read it out loud, and ask him what he meant by it. I agree with this. Just quote his Tibet take and ask, do you believe that Britain has the right to civilize those African nations? Probably will be good to read more about Tibet at the time. Wait, you don't even know anything about Tibet? Although it's relatively hard to have good sources, it seems like slavery was largely on its way out. I like that these guys in the process of like, the only thing they care about is just basically like dominating me in their minds. Like they just don't have any fucking firmly held convictions whatsoever. Like it's pretty funny. First of all, this is about Israel-Palestine. If you have some questions on that front, you can do that if you like. Secondly, I just don't understand. Like, what's your Tibet take? My Tibet take was that the original practice of serfdom and slavery in Tibet instituted by the Dalai Lama was not good, and that the Tibetans alongside the Chinese forces rose up and abolished slavery. Tibet being a autonomous region of under the control of the Chinese Empire even before Mao, and long before Mao, does not change this dynamic. Like they just previous Chinese empires did not give a shit that they were doing slavery. Mao did, okay, and they liberated Tibet. Now the current form, the current Hanification, or not even necessarily Hanification, but like the current existing relations of Chinese sovereignty over Tibet, that's a controversial subject, and I totally understand why people are frustrated by it. And also in the process, a lot of people were, slaughtered. Having said that, however, I don't think that it is a part of Tibetan culture. I don't think it's a part of Tibetan culture. And the British equivalent between the caste system does not work in the same way, because the English came in, said that they were actually abolishing the caste system, or said the caste system was barbaric, but then utilized the caste system to their advantage. The Chinese governance did not do that. So also, depending on the audience, I'm not sure how well liked Ukraine is in Cambridge. Like, they don't even care. Brother, if you have a disagreement with me on my commentary on Ukraine, you could just like bring that up. I don't know why these guys are literally like, ooh, find something that the audience will hate him for. Like this basically shows that you don't care about the issue at all. Like, you don't have a genuinely held point. You don't have a genuinely held conviction on this issue. You haven't even done like any reading beyond the fact that you've seen like bad faith generalizations about like what my position is. And you think that like, I'm not going to be able to have a conversation with you in front of a large audience when, this is going to play itself out in a similar fashion to like a gray name. Anyway, but it's like weird because when I prepare to debate someone, right? When I prepare to debate someone, I don't simply look at like shit that is going to undermine their worldview. Although, that definitely is something I look at. The reason why I do that is because on first principles, and also on top of that, like their ideological worldview is directly diametrically opposed to mine. That's why I want to have this discussion to begin with, because I have a position and they have a position. My job in that conversation is to basically showcase the lack of intellectual depth in their position. If your goal here is to simply, troll and masquerade your trolling as though it's some genuine intellectual concern, this is the wrong way to go about it. Imagine having an opportunity to, talk to me in person, right? Imagine having the opportunity to talk to me in person, and this is what you're going to do. Like, you're just going to you don't have your own opinions on this matter at all. Like, you haven't even thought about like what my position is. You might be curious about what my position is on a particular matter. And instead you're just like, can you guys give me talking points? Like, that's kind of lame. And people do it in my community as well. And when Charlie Kirk is coming to their campus or whatever, but it's like, we are diametrically opposed to Charlie Kirk's worldview. The question you should ask yourself is, are you diametrically opposed to my worldview? Are you genuinely on the opposing team? And if the answer is yes, how have you arrived at this? I don't think a lot of people understand that if you don't have a real POV on these matters, okay? If you don't have like a real, genuine, firmly held opinion on this matter, and you just come at it with like whatever fucking clips that you've seen that you've misunderstood, you're not going to get your point across. It's not going to look amazing for you. Especially when it's shit like, oh, Hasan, why are you anti-Semitic? If you say that, like, you're done. Because I'm not. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's blast off. I haven't blasted off yet. What was I gonna say? Okay, so we got Hunter Biden pardoned. Everyone is mad at Joe. Free him. React. Free Hunter reactions. What else? The French government is about to collapse. Good. Thank you to Macy's for the playlist. Let's blast off real quick. Former IOF defense minister says Bibi is doing ethnic cleansing in Gaza. I'm more shocked that everyone is mad at Biden for him pardoning Hunter. Yeah. Kash Patel, FBI director, going to be live from Londonistan tomorrow for Oxford and Cambridge Union talks. Get in now. For tomorrow, I'm planning on, so what I was going to do is like, I have one free day, I guess. I have one technically kind of free day, but it's not. It's the first day that I'm there, right? And for that one free day that I have, I was planning on doing like a regular stream. And then after that, I was planning on, planning on, you know, on the regular stream, I was going to do like a Jeremy Corbyn link up, which I thought would have been fun. You know, link up with him, hang out with him a little bit, maybe go to this like this communist kebab shop, right? With Jezza, the goat, and have like a sit down talk with him, you know, in a private place. But unfortunately, he is not available. I talked to his team. I talked to a bunch of people, and instead I'm going to be hanging out with Owen Jones, most likely tomorrow. And we'll be doing that instead. That would have been amazing with Corbyn. Were you able to reschedule with Coates? Yeah, we can reschedule. I'm going to reschedule when I come back from Londonistan. Obviously, I'm not going to, do that while I'm there. And Lena Khan as well. Yeah, if I hadn't scheduled this London trip like months ahead of time, I would be doing the Lena Khan and Ta-Nehisi Coates interviews this week. Okay. Oh, I misspelled minister. I don't fucking care. Who gives a shit? There, I updated it. Okay, are you happy? What are you going to talk to Owen about? What do you think we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about Palestine. Pulitzer. Wait, what is this? Plus tinfoil hat. UAPs over military bases. Aren't you a little bit too old to be spamming? Why are you calling it Londonistan? Because we've taken over, lad. We've taken fucking over, lad. The Muslim man has taken over. Also, I mean, I can do a link up with Jeremy Corbyn at any time online, but yeah, we're going to talk about the settler organization. Don't worry. Islamic ray guns. Oh, also, one other thing I want to say is I started watching Dungeon Meshi. Delicious Dungeon, and it is Pog. It is very good. And I want to say I apologize to my Discord for routinely yelling at you guys about and saying that shit sucks. I said 4 eps in, and Delicious in Dungeon is a great anime so far. Basically, Zelda's cooking function made into an anime with Studio Ghibli level culinary detail in a dungeon crawler RPG. One problem, it makes me super hungry when I'm watching. It is fantastic. It is fantastic and very cozy so far. I heard that it's like supposed to get very not cozy. So it is so beautifully drawn. It's so fantastic. Frieren is next. It's not lame, I promise. Everybody constantly talks about Frieren. Everybody constantly talks about Frieren. I don't know if it's good or not, but it doesn't have the bare bones of what I like. I'll just say it like that. Frieren, unfortunately, does not capture my attention in the same way that like Dungeon Meshi did. But yeah, have you checked out Dandadan? Yes, I have. But getting back to the Oxford Uni and Cambridge Uni thing, now that we've blasted off, okay? So I'm not super familiar with what these Oxford Union, Cambridge Union things are, but I think they're like debate spaces. No disrespect, obviously. I've just heard that, you know, these are important institutions of spirited debate. And in the spirit of important institutions in the spirit for spirited debate, I see that these guys over at the Destiny community have decided to find a way to infiltrate it. I agree. Ask him about this Tibet take. It's so obviously in the wrong. Ask him to discuss why China civilizing Tibet is different than Britain civilizing India. You have to flip it. Don't use a quote as a way to attack him. Instead, praise him for it. I recently got into an argument with a friend of mine who believes that Tibet should be independent from China. You rightly pointed out that China brought modern civilization and culture to them, as they were basically barbarians before China uplifted them. As though I would agree with this framing. I would not agree with this framing at all. I genuinely don't understand why they think this is like an expert, 5-head level of infiltration. Like, I would never fucking agree with that framing. Okay? However, he felt that it wasn't a reason to justify China's rule. What do you think I should say to convince him? I would say that China should not rule over Tibet. And if the Tibetan people want full-blown autonomy, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, they have to be dominated by the Chinese. But if you're talking about like historical analysis in terms of like, freeing Tibet from the throes of feudalism, yeah, that act I do not have a disagreement with. Anyway, I have often been very critical of Hanification initiatives in general. This was a massive problem with the USSR as well. One of the most consequential aspects of the USSR, one of the most significant aspects of the USSR was Russification. It's not a thing that it's not only is it inappropriate, it's inhumane, but it's also unsuccessful. So I'm not in favor of Hanification either. So claiming that the Tibetans are basically barbarians is really stupid. This is the way. This is devilishly genius. Lol, this might actually do more. You're 100% correct. Also, ask about if the conditions of Uyghurs are genocide. Maybe bring up Palestinians first. Yeah. Imagine saying that in a fucking room like the Oxford Union setting to bring up the conditions of the Uyghurs, not knowing what my opinion is on this matter at all, assuming that it's like, oh yeah, it's great. China should dominate them, assuming that that's my position, and then simultaneously comparing that to what fucking Israel is doing. Like, really? What Israel's doing in Gaza, it does not meet the standards of genocide? And what China has done in Xinjiang is like infinitely worse? Is this the argument that we're having right now? This is insane. This comparison is ridiculous. Where do you see evidence that China's trying to Hanify Tibet? It's not necessarily Hanifying Tibet, but it's more so having control over it and dominating. Before people start talking about like the Dalai Lama and how he's a CIA agent, okay, I am always going to be of the mindset that you got to let people live, okay. No, it's comparable. Explain why it's not comparable. Chinese practices in Xinjiang were mass surveillance and re-education camps. These are completely unacceptable acts, okay, upon an entire generation of Uyghur Muslims in this area, claiming that there were separatist extremists. And there were certainly some separatist extremists, but that doesn't justify dragnets, that doesn't justify mass surveillance, and that certainly doesn't justify re-education. The notion that, like, this is comparable to what Israel has done is fucking insane. Okay, I'll take it one step further. If ironically enough, Israel was doing what China did in Xinjiang, in Gaza and the West Bank, I would still be very critical of it in the same way that I was when China did it in Xinjiang. But the entire world would applaud how fucking tolerant and how open-minded the Israeli society was. Okay, what are you talking about? Like, one is like, did China bomb every fucking part of Xinjiang? Like, what are you talking? What are you saying? China is like, Xinjiang is firmly within Chinese territory. Let's say Gaza Strip is also firmly. Wait, you thought the Chinese government was bombing Xinjiang? I just want you to understand, I am still extremely critical of the Chinese practices in Xinjiang, okay? I've talked about this quite a bit, extensively. I think that dragnet campaigns, mass surveillance, re-education, all of which are completely and utterly unacceptable and inhumane. It does not matter that there are, there were acts of knife attacks or acts of separatist terror or whatever. It still doesn't matter. Like, you can't just, like, enforce this ridiculous surveillance state regime over an entire group of an entire population. Having said that, however, no, they did not fucking bomb Xinjiang. As a matter of fact, America in Philadelphia has done more to black people than China did in Xinjiang in terms of bombing. Okay, they did a lot more, but in other aspects. But no, there was no bombing campaigns happening. The reason why I brought up America and black people is because the Africa family were bombed in the Move bombing in 1985 in a Philadelphia suburb by the Philadelphia Police Department. Okay? Nobody ever considers that to be like a fucking mass bombing campaign of black people. And I certainly don't either. Okay? But having said that, yeah, they dropped C4 from a fucking helicopter. They dropped C4 from a helicopter, and the police chief famously said, "Let it burn." Why are we still talking about this? Anyway, Belgium civilizing the Congo is better because the Belgians used the abolition of slavery to stake their claims. Yeah, dude, totally. Belgians actually maintained the practice of slavery. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It was ruthless. It was brutal. It was one of the most brutal, continuations of chattel slavery. Yeah, I would also make sure you have the paragraphs around the quote. Preempt your question with something along the lines of, this quote is not out of context. I can provide you what you were saying before and after if you think it is, so we can't dismiss it easily. Another question I wish Ethan asked about Tibet was, do you think Tibet would return to its feudal slave-owning roots if they were granted independence? If not, relate Tibet to Palestine in the question if you really want to stir the pot. But I think this is definitely one of the more on its face damning things I've heard him say. It would be my choice if I ever had the opportunity to confront him. Like, these guys don't know anything about Tibet, don't care about it at all, don't understand what my position is on Tibet, okay? And simply are just like, this is a great opportunity to fucking attack him. That's it. They're like plotting out a dialogue tree here. This, like, if you genuinely, if this was something that you were like very well versed on, and you felt like I missed the mark on a point of my commentary, that's totally valid. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, my family is from Tibet, you know? And, this is what I studied in college. Like, I don't fully understand where you're coming from. And you came at it with charitability. Like, I can have a normal conversation with you. But this right here is just like so openly disingenuous where you're just like, I don't know anything about Tibet. And I don't really understand what Hasan's position was on the matter. But I'm going to try to hit this in the worst possible, least charitable framing and try to fucking duke it out in the marketplace of ideas, you know? And it's so funny because, like, I'm not even there to talk about China. Like, I'm not even there to talk about China. Why the fuck am I talking about China? I don't give a shit. Okay. I have no control over China. I barely have control over my own goddamn government. And every time I try to get my government to fucking stop the pain and stop the hemorrhaging and stop the violence, they go, shut the fuck up.